No dog sold or raised for illegal purposes. This is a historical and entertainment-based channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Oh, yeah.
Episode 7, already. Yeah.
Are Thailand game dogs up to par with the world?
The legal overseeing of dogfighting in China. Who is the greatest producing Redboy female of all time?
Let us analyze the evidence on this episode of Bulldog Court.
Bulldog community, please rise.
This is your host, Get a Hold James, because we got to get a hold of the game.
Court is now in session.
Yeah. Like a heart attack, strike back, we bad. Episode 7. All up in your cranium for this next one. This is your host, Get a Hold James, because we got to get a hold of the game. I'd like to thank everybody for joining me tonight for another episode of Bulldog Court. I'd like to thank everybody who supported Bulldog Court, who have supported Bulldog Court thus far. Thank you so much. I'd like to send a special shout out Bulldogin with Bo, DogmanTv, for allowing me to come on their platform on Sunday night to talk about all the different various cases that we have covered on Bulldog Court and to continue the debate and the commentary. I appreciate those brothers. Once again, always. Also, too, I'd like to thank all the people who commented in the chat, who commented, made comments on Sporting Dog Archive about the various cases, the comments about certain dogs I post, even sometimes giving backstories. I really appreciate that. We all a community, everything helps in a positive way to enlighten one person versus another on some of these stories. And I think that's probably the most interesting thing, just the stories that are told. These are some amazing stories that are told, and the least you can say is a lot of these dog men and women got a heck of an imagination if it wasn't real, or also too, they're great storytellers, if it is true. So I think those are some of the most compelling things about the Bulldogs, the Bulldog world, other than the actual Bulldogs, other than the game dogs. The stories that you hear. And then the various sides of the same story that you hear is quite compelling and entertaining within itself. We understand that is enough right there for us to continue to debate and argue just as we would in any other in sports, about who's the greatest of this era versus that era, who's the greatest all time, and we'll never, get to the bottom of it because we're comparing time periods and a lot of the things that we wish could have happened didn't happen for whatever the reason. And then also too, that, those animals were no longer, in that era when we were talking about another animal versus the 1920s versus the 1800s versus the 1980s and 90s. They were just totally different decades, totally different times. But it's a heck of a debate to have. So let's get into our first case. Are Thailand game dogs up to par with the rest of the world? And we're talking about, just for further understanding, historically. I've never been to Thailand, seen a lot of pictures, would like to go one day. Like some beautiful people over there, like some good food, but historically don't know much about the game dogs, the American Pit Bull Terriers that they have over there. And I was able to do, of course, my study and research and looking for a couple of animals and see if they were up to par with some of the stories and some of the animals that we see historically from around the world, not just the U.S., but around the world. Do they have their own bloodlines and families over there? Did they even import from the United States? Did they choose to import animals from the Europe or from South Africa or from the Virgin Islands or what have you, or from Japan. And so my studies have shown me that, of course, once again, the outside the best side, in the U.S., they have a lot of our blood, and some of it is very, some of our old stuff, and some of our stuff that we have today, and they tell a very similar story than what we see around the world, which goes to show back to one of the cases that I had about our Hispanic dog men just better marketers than everyone else is the clear indication when we look in Thailand and their dogs that Maydays and Redboy Jocko and their footprint is, along with hardcore in some certain places have made their imprint. Their footprints are all over Thailand. And one of the dogs we're going to look at is Grand Champion Art of Shams Fuji, a female. And she's basically hardcore Tech 9 stuff with the Super Kennels Champion 357 and the Shalico blood. The Shalico blood has left out of the Georgia, Florida area, which that's when I first heard of a Shalico dog, it being out in that part of the country. But it has found its way to Thailand. And this Grand Champion female, never went past the hour mark for all 5 victories. So that says a lot. Another one is Grand Champion Art of Shans and Kings Jaheen. That's another another one that is has a lot of American blood within it. Another one is Champion Ike's Norfolk, 4-time winner, 3-time L import from the U.S. Jeep Chinaman dog. I saw the picture of this dog and I said, man, I seen this dog somewhere else before. And sure enough, it was a dog that was in the U.S. many, many years ago. And you never hear of this blood as much, this particular cross. But this is the Chance Pretty Boy Floyd or Chance Floyd cross with the Crom Snubby. I believe this dog may be double bred. I don't have the pedigree in front of me right now, but I know it's Pretty Boy Floyd, Chance Nubby. Chance Nubby is off of Chinaman, bred to Jeep's sister, Crenshaw's Champion Missy, which was once owned by Tom Gardner. Okay, so just a real heavy Jeep with the Chinaman out cross, which is why you see he's a black dog. The black dog showing dominance within the pedigree. There's been others from that line. Hawaiian Punch had a dog called Blackjack, I believe, and had one called Blackjack Jr. From this very same strand of Jeep Chinaman. Very consistent for those people who still have those type animals. Another one is Champion Combat Elites Hypo. 4-time winner, registered merit. He is the sire of the Champion Carver dog, who we'll talk about him in a minute. But I found this cross right here that made this dog, this hypo dog, very unusual. I want the Bulldog community to help me out. Because maybe you've heard of it and I just haven't. Which can be well within reason of understanding. But I have never seen a Jeep Redboy Sorrel dog. And it's some good, it's some good lines of the Sorrel through the old Joe Testament dog. And Joe Testament is the sire of Uncle Bud, the champion, Sorrel's champion, Uncle Bud. So, and it's got the old Jeep Redboy stuff on top. Look like might be some stuff down from Rock Bottom Kennels, aka Kamikaze, the late Mike Wilder type strand. Very good stuff. But this dog, Champion Hypo, will go on to produce Champion Combat Elites Carver. So, Carver is off of Hypo, so that's Jeep Redboy Sorrel on top. Bottom side is a female called Red Rocket. She's a registered merit female off of SCP's Champion Leonardo. We know Leonardo is our Burn Stompy, and Hell on Earth's Champion Selena, which is a Termite Dallas female. But then they took Leonardo and bred to some Redboy Jocko Jeep Termite. Yeah, it's basically a Redboy Jocko Jeep Termite Balls dog. It had a lot of black pads on the bottom. I believe it may be some handicap on the bottom as well. but a registered married female bred to the Jeep Redboy Sorrel on top to produce Champion Combat Elite's calf. Another one is Champion Combat Elite's Amos Moses, who is a son of Mayday, and the dam is from a tense bruiser and out of sassy breeding. So Redboy Jocko Jeep Bulldog also never went past the hour mark for all three. Another one is Grand Champion Dog Army's Bulldog, 5-time winner, Mayday Boys Jeep Buck Cross. So we see that they have all the ingredients that you would see around the world and more prevalent in America or any one of the Americas. Let me make that clear. U.S., South America now, Mexico now running a lot of Mayday, running a lot of Little John, running a lot of Redboy Jocko Jeep. It's not just Eli Carver Land anymore and those things in between, but it's becoming more and more broader with what they bring out across the border. And so we know that Europe will use probably just about any and everything. If it's working, they'll put it to work. So for my estimation of looking at doing my little homework here, they may be up to par. You know, I don't know anything about what's going over there currently. These are all things of the past. As you can see, I talked about a son of Mayday. You know, Mayday has been gone for quite some time. So some of these dogs are probably long gone now. Well, most of them are. So maybe you feel otherwise. Maybe you heard rumblings and heard things otherwise that might lead you to believe that they're not up to par. Or you know some stories on those dogs that were imported and they may not have been as advertised as far as such a good dog to be sent over there, you know, or that's why they were sent over there, because they were not good dogs. They were basically curs or could have been someone's cull, but they were good enough to make the grade over there, you know, because it's a lot of times when we see dogs that couldn't make the grade in other parts of the world and go elsewhere and begin to get breathed new life, whether it be through more patience and better methods of culling methods, or it's just a simple fact of the competition may be lesser in that area, and therefore they can now thrive where elsewhere where tougher combat and tougher competition was, they could not. So either way you look at it. But this is my first case. This is what I'm proposing to the Bulldog community concerning Thailand and their animals being up to par with the rest of the world. You can also do your own due diligence and homework, and I'm very interested to hear what your findings are pertaining to animals of Thailand. So my first case, are Thailand game dogs up to par with the rest of the world? This case is now dismissed. We'll get back to the show after these important messages.
Check out one of the best dog talk shows out here, Bulldogin with Bo, on DogmanTv, Thursdays and Sundays 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Shout out to his co-host, Nonstop.
And for our next case, to monitor over the world of dogfighting in China. Is this good or bad? First thing we're going to do and understand and know, I got to say this every episode, I am not the judge nor jury, for it is up to you, the Bulldog community, to decide which way the tide may roll. Also, I must say that everything that we do and talk about as far as dogs, the people, everything is in the past. Even with this article and the audio I'm going to play for you is from about 2013. So, you know, a little bit over 10 years ago. So even this and their method in which they are cracking down on the world of dogfighting is a bit old. But it's just simply a conversation piece for the Bulldog community. Something to analyze and look at and see in the way in which other governments handle dog fighting and how they look at dog fighting as opposed to in America or in different parts of the world, the Philippines, Thailand, wherever, Switzerland, wherever it is, Germany, how they look at it. I think you'll find this interesting. So here's the audio, and then I may have a few comments during the audio, but here we go.
As the rest of the nation rang in 2013 with fireworks and glasses of champagne with friends and family, a small village in China's Shaanxi province did something else. It organized a dogfighting competition to celebrate the new year. According to the Shanghaiist, a Shanghai-based news blog, on New Year's Day, residents of a village in Jishan County attended the dogfighting competition, which was organized by a local company. Dog owners from around the province came to the village with their different breeds of dogs and were greeted by organizers with complimentary cigarettes, bottled water, and even a pair of gloves. China's laws on animal rights cover the illegal poaching of endangered or protected species, and even in those cases, most punishments do not go beyond fines. There is one law that specifies up to 10 years imprisonment for someone convicted of capturing or killing an endangered wild species, a category which dogs obviously do not fall under. China has begun cracking down on organized dogfighting events, particularly last year, when several events were interrupted by authorities. However, the main priority of the officials is to curb gambling, rather than enforce animal protection, because it is illegal in mainland China.
The main reason why is to curb gambling, to stop people from gambling, not to stop the dogs, but to curb gambling. Gambling is illegal in China. And another thing is the images that you are seeing are from the actual event. And as you can see, these are not American Pit Bull Terriers. These are not Pit Bull Terriers from whatever nation. These are different types of dogs. I don't know what kind of dogs they are, but definitely not pit bulls.
Last October, authorities discovered an underground dogfighting syndicate in Beijing. Crowds gathered for hours, placing bets as they watched provoked dogs viciously bite each other. 2 suspects were detained by police, but only on gambling charges. According to the Beijing News, the underground gambling and dogfighting ring had existed for more than 10 years, and on the day of the bust, roughly 200,000 yuan, $32,000, was recovered. If money is not involved, animal rights advocates often find themselves with their hands tied. Zhu Shuilin, a vice president of the Zhejiang Small Animal Protection Association, told the Global Times that the group tried to pursue a lead on a dogfighting group in Juji, a city in Zhejiang province, but came up empty-handed. Even if we had found it, there would have been little we could do, other than to try to persuade people. We don't have the authority to intervene, Zhu said. Even officials do not have the right to intervene unless it is to crack down on gambling.
This is one of the parts I'm talking about. They don't have the authority to intervene. How do you feel about this?
Liu Yunhui, an official with the Henan County, explained that China has a long tradition of dogfighting, particularly among the Uyghur and Hui ethnic groups, and that fights are not technically illegal as an event itself.
So, after hearing this, I'm curious to get your input, your comments on this. And it talked about, just at the end about they have a tradition over there of dogfighting. And so, of course, Chinese people, if you understand somewhat about their culture, they're very big on traditions. No matter what they are, I believe they are big on traditions. So I think that counts a lot for their culture as a people. And like they said, certain ethnic groups within China are very big on this as far as dogfighting. And they don't intervene on the traditional part, but they do, however, will come in and bust the place if they find gambling going on. They will jump in and bust a dog fighting event. Like I said, if there is any exchange of monetary funds going on, so I hate to try to assume, but I would assume that it is only for entertainment, to be for entertainment purposes, or as a traditional means to carry on the traditional thing that they do to commemorate something like they did at the beginning of their new year in that particular village, to signify something or whatever it is that they're trying to signify or to show as far as a representation of their village, perhaps. But nevertheless, whatever the method is, as you hear, they don't intervene. And the only time that they really crack down on any type of abuse of animals of any kind, which is high penalties for it over there, is when you're talking about rare breeds. You're talking about endangered species. You know, dogs do not fall in that category of any kind, do not fall in the category of endangered species over there. But if you are caught poaching or you are caught killing an endangered species, you know, the fines and the punishment of jail time is pretty heavy-handed. So it's not like they don't enforce laws, but for whatever reason they just choose to allow those particular groups and people to have their tradition. But at the same time, there are some things that I look at it as monitoring. They didn't say that, but I think that they are very heavily monitoring the situation to make sure that there's no illegal gambling going on. Because it's like it said in the article, there's no law over there against dog fighting, but there is a law against gambling. So that's what they're trying to see and come into these different places where they have dog fighting circles, is to try to make sure that there's no gambling going on, not trying to stop the actual shows that are going on. So this is my second case that I'm proposing to the Bulldog community. How do you feel about this? I would say monitoring. If y'all have another term you want to use, overseeing, monitoring, this is the way I look at it as far as what they are doing with this particular situation for as dog fighting in their country. So I'm curious to hear what your comments are. I'm curious to hear the way that you might look at it. Do you think it's good or bad? Do you think they should crack totally down on it and just shut it down and kill these people's traditions, so that they don't have to continue to monitor, you know? And so other side of the coin, some people would say, well, if they shut it all the way down, then they don't have a job, you know? Well, there's no more, you know, traditions, you know, and you know, so what are you monitoring, you know? And I guess that keeps them, you know, working every day trying to find these places where these events are taking place, just so they can see what's going on to make sure that there's no gambling going on. So I'm curious to hear what you have to say. Case of Chinese monitoring, I can't get that word right for me, in dog fighting. Do you think it's good or bad? This case is now dismissed. Yeah. For my third and final case, who is the best producing Redboy female in history? Let us look into this. Many times when we talk about Redboy dogs, we spend a lot of time talking about the great producing males in history pertaining to the Redboy dog, but very few times do we hear many names shouted out as the best producing females. So this is something that I'm bringing forth before the Bulldog community today. I have some suggestions. I don't have them all. I may not even know them all. I could go through more, but I'm just going to throw a few out there. Let the Bulldog community do their due diligence and let them come forth with their claim for who is the best producing Redboy female. We're talking about all time. We can debate the influence later, but we're just talking about via numbers, and I won't fool myself into thinking I know it all. because I know there are some other Redboy females who have come through history who have made their name very much known. And just because it escapes my eye doesn't mean that it's not worthy to be noted. One of the ones I got is Holland's Smoocher, registered merit. Holland's Cherry Shake is another one who I think I consider. That's a little mate sister to a Holland's or a Dyke's Haymaker. Marlowe's Tabby Girl, of course, is the dam of Tab and Tramp and Cochran's Little Red Boy and so many others. She definitely can lay her claim to one of the top producing females. Definitely one of the most influential. Marlowe's Fanny, who produced the outstanding producer Bailey's Bingo, who produced Jeep's only Grand Champion, Tomcat's Grand Champion Tank, also produced out of that same litter. Marlowe's or Miller's Champion Cobra was also out of that litter. All those dogs went on to produce other great dogs. Marlowe's Brandy Girl, you know, some people look at her as one of the foundation females of the Carolina Kitten and her breeding program, and they may very well be correct. Some people will weigh in and say Bass Cleo played a important part in that, but nevertheless, you know, Brandy Girl produced a lot of great dogs. Marlowe's Peaches. A lot of times when we talk about Katie Marlowe's yard, a lot of people overlook the register of merit female by the name of Marlowe's Peaches. You have to do your own research on that. Also, too, I considered, even though it has the Metland's Outlaw in it, Robinson's Big Bug, Wart's Champion Baby, maybe another one. But who do you think is the best producing Redboy female in history? And we're going to leave it up to you, the Bulldog community, to decide which way the tide may roll on this one. In the case of who is the best producing Redboy female in history, this case is now dismissed. Now it's time for my closing monologue. Like I say every time, make your next move your best move, but move strategic like a chess move. For y'all out here who got OGs that's helping guide y'all in the game and show y'all the ropes, do him the greatest side that you can ever do for him, and keep your mouth closed and your ears open. Do less talking and more listening. It's a reason why God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, because he wants you to listen twice as much as you talk. This is your host, Get a Hold James, because we got to get a hold of the game. I'm out.